I'm Lisset King.
And I'm Brittney King, and welcome to Honest Feedback, a podcast here for you. We are here on the internet offering advice and alternative perspectives to whatever is on your heart and mind. My epically talented, oh so amazing wife, Lisset King, is an emotional ninja. Mm-hmm. She is a trainer and master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, mental emotional release, and hypnotherapy.
That's right.
Fancy.
Yeah, I'm super fancy. And my amazing, gorgeous, luxurious wife, goddess Brittney King, is a pleasure priestess. She helps women go from numb to embodied using sensual movement and sacred ritual.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like, we are very much living in our truth of what lights us up. And I'm so excited because today we have a question about how we get here.
How you do that?
What's it like to living your dharma?
Yeah.
What would you say? Just some broad strokes, what you do, how you do it.
Oh man, it was a long and windy road to get here. I didn't know how I was getting here, and I think I followed the breadcrumbs. I followed the path, and it wasn't always known for me that I would be doing this. But when it hit, I knew. How about you?
Yeah, I didn't know. There was no pleasure priestess in my college course catalog. I had no idea that the work that I'm doing today would be my life's work. And so I'm really excited to speak to this caller who feels like they're a bit in a crossroads at their life of how to get to where they want to go. Yeah. Shall we dive in?
Yeah, go ahead and read that question.
Okay. Hello. Hello, Brittney and Lisset. I love your podcast. Thanks. Yeah. You give such wonderful advice that I'm hoping you can shed some light and give me some honest feedback on something I've been going through for a long time. I feel I'm at a crossroads and I'm not sure which direction to go. I feel lost in this fast-paced world. I've had a string of jobs just to pay the bills, but nothing I find really meaningful or fulfilling. And if I'm to be honest, I never really had a clear idea of what I should be doing with my life. I get overwhelmed sometimes by so many choices that I get analysis paralysis. I'm tired of just paying the bills. I want to live my best life by aligning myself with something I would love to do. I have always admired anyone who knows exactly what they were meant to do. I want that for myself, but I don't know how to get there. Why do you think it's so difficult for some people to discover their true calling? Is it ever too late? Any words of wisdom you can share would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for all you do. Sincerely, Lost in Space. Pronouns they, them.
Oh, I feel this caller so deeply.
Yeah, Lost in Space. Thank you. Thank you for this beautiful, beautiful question. Yeah. Do you want to start us off?
Absolutely. I mean, there were so many questions embedded in that. And, one thing I want to say is, as far as following your true calling and knowing what that is, it's easy to read someone's chapter 20, and think that that's where we are. That they just got there one day. And the truth is that a majority of people, we're all a little lost in space for a period of time. We're blessed to be doing what we do today. I didn't find what I was doing today until I was 37, about 5 years ago. I know I look young as fuck. But yeah, I did so many jobs that I fucking hated, to find my path. And as far as why we're not taught, why it's so difficult to find your true calling is because we're not taught to. Nowhere in school is there a follow your passion class. No. It is learn this, memorize this. We are very much taught to be employees. We're not taught to think for ourselves and seek to create a business. At least the majority of us are not.
No. I'm not sure what your age demographic is, but I was born in 87 and my parents were boomers, and it was very much of pick the safe choice. Pick a degree that definitely has a job attached to it at the end, and like follow these steps, and you should do this thing, and like you should be a doctor, you should be a lawyer, you should do these specific steps, and then you'll get this thing, and then you'll be happy. And like even when I was younger and I was just like, I want to act and I want to perform, I felt like arts classes, the things that are first on the budget list to get cut from schools, where it's like, hey, follow what lights you up. They were like, that's ridiculous. Like they were like very much like, they were supportive in the way of like, you can do anything. And then I was like, I want to be an actor. They were like,
except that
that's the anything you want to do. Like, are you sure? Like, how are you gonna get hired? Like, it was this upward battle because they didn't understand why I would want to do that. And so you're very much taught, I was, and I feel like a lot of us are, pick something safe that has some kind of guarantee. And what I know to be true about life is like, there are no guarantees. The things that our parents might have prepared us for, like these industries of like, work for this job for a pension for 50 years, like those kind of that job model doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's not sustainable. Or like, you should go into like these different fields where it's like, that field doesn't exist in the same way it used to. Like people aren't buying magazines the way they used to, or newspapers, or so we're living in a different world, and a world that I feel like has opened up a lot more expansiveness as far as like, what is something that truly aligns with your soul? Where is your purpose? Where is your impact? So I feel you on feeling that call, and I definitely resonate with like, I just don't even know how to start with this path because this is all new information. So I'm imploring you to have some compassion with yourself. Take a breath and realize, this is new. I can venture into doing new things. Yeah.
Yeah. And, with the way we were raised, or older generations, like, what we don't realize is, with AI, a lot of these jobs are getting replaced, and so what's being called forth of us is authenticity, finding what is a way you like to serve. Like, how do you like to be in service to people? How do you like to share your gifts? Are you an entertainer? Are you a content creator? Are you a poet? Are you an artist? Like, these things, this is what's most called for in this moment in time. And so going inward and finding what lights you up is not necessarily easy, but it's absolutely worth it, because we can, especially, I understand that fight, like, I need to pay the bills. Like, when you're in survivor mode, it's so freaking hard to be in creation.
Yep.
But that doesn't, like, you still have hours in your day to check in. What is it that lights you up? Where are the spaces that you feel most connected to you? Who are you when you're most authentic? And, if mine wasn't doing retail,
or driving for Amazon,
Yeah.
or serving food,
Yeah.
or any of the other millions
or
of jobs.
slinging drinks,
Yeah.
like a lot of lives we've
We've had many jobs.
Yeah. And what it took was taking that leap. Like, I know it's difficult, especially with everything that we're taught, but like, there is the illusion. The illusion is that we have to do any one thing. The illusion is that we have to do something to pay bills. Like, you can do what you want while you're paying your bills. And it's a big leap of faith to jump from this to that.
Can you talk a bit more about the leap? Like, what was your personal journey from slinging drinks to the different odd jobs to literally being on your path? What opened that door for you? What led you there?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So I lit a bunch of money on fire going to college.
Same here.
Still paying those bills. And, I got a degree in psychology, which everyone was like, so you don't want a job. And
You never know.
You never know. And it did serve me. I am surprisingly did circle back to that career. But coming out of college with just a bachelor's in psychology, I sold guitars for 9 years at Guitar Center, you know, or pedals or whatever else I did at Guitar Center for that long period of time. I was a bartender for several years. And what I didn't realize is that each one of these things did set me up. Like they were on the path. They weren't the path, but they were on the path. Being a bartender made me really good at being compassionate. It made me an excellent listener. It made me like able to, I dealt with sometimes people's deepest, darkest pain, and it made me good with that. And the skills I learned at Guitar Center, my sales skills, made me personable, made me learn rapport and all the things that those soft skills really, I didn't know at the time they were forming into who I became as a person. And even as a child, like, I can't say that I knew that I wanted to do this, but there was a part of me that knew that I wanted to do this as a little. I remember I would cut I would make people out of clay, and I would cut their little hearts out and replace it with a good heart, like, because I knew I wanted to help people's heart. Like, I knew I wanted to help people, and I took a really long road to get there. And when I discovered this work, when I discovered that I can have control of my mind, that I was the co-creator of my life, it made me go, whoa, how many people don't know this? Because I didn't know this. And I know my family didn't know this to some degree, or they would have taught it to me. And when I learned this, I was like, oh, this is a path out of this being lost in space. And I felt the light turn on. I felt like everything turn on within me. It's why there's a power symbol in the middle of my logo, because I felt like I was taken off a standby. And I leaned deep into that. And I was like, fuck it. Like, the gift of the pandemic, you know, I know it was a really hard time for people. I will not deny that. And the gift that it gave me was shattering that illusion that I needed to, you know, be part of the rat race, that I needed to work to survive. Like, it shattered that when everything broke down, like, and what really mattered was relationships. What really mattered was freedom. What really mattered was love. When all of that broke down, I was like, fuck this, I am done. I am done playing that game. I'm done being a part of that system. And that was the leap of faith. That was the beginning of leaning into what it is that I do today and what we do today, which is whatever the fuck we want.
Yep. Here for whatever the fuck we want. Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing more about your journey. And yeah, you touched on so many amazing things of, we feel like, hey, these other things that I'm doing aren't part of my path. And thank you so much for circling that it is actually part of your path. We just might not know how it is part of our path. So my journey to becoming a pleasure priestess was a windy road as well. I wanted to be an actor, like I mentioned before. And I was acting, I was waitressing, I had all these other jobs, and a lot of these skills showed up in my life today. Two places that were instrumental in the level of service that I give today is, I used to work for the Ritz-Carlton hotels, and I was a cocktail waitress there. And the skills that they taught me about service were the height of service. They have a book about it. I think it's called The Gold Standard or The Blue Standard. But what they taught me of how to give and serve from your heart, and what it really meant to be of service to someone, and how it was an honor and a gift, that is something I carry in my business to this day, of how I show up for people. And they taught it is not about just like bringing someone food. It is a level of care and attention to detail and a way of showing love that is inviting people into a space where they actually feel truly taken care of. That really it's the difference that makes the difference. That's something I learned at a serving job. That's not everyone's serving job, but it was the one that was on my path that really supported me in the work that I do today. And me on my windy path about being an actor, the thing that I wanted when I was looking at women acting was, I wanted access to autonomy over my body, and a place where I felt like women were allowed to be big and be sexy and be fullness of themselves in a safe container. And that was the only place I saw that women were doing that safely. So the thing that I wanted wasn't necessarily different, but I didn't know that safety to be myself was the thing that I wanted. I was like, I see these women out here, seems like they are living their best lives. I want to do what they're doing. And I thought that was what it was. And my path was nuanced, and it led to production, and it led to so many different things. And it was on our honeymoon where I was filming a movie about us. And when I started editing the movie, and it was all the things that I thought I wanted, it was about us, it starred us, it was about our love, all the things that I still didn't want to do it, that I was just like, oh gosh, but like, this isn't what I actually want to do. And it's what I thought I wanted to do, and it's not what I wanted to do. And so being able to literally put it down, and I feel so grateful that I have an amazing supportive partner who was like, hey, what if you just didn't do it? What if you just don't do the thing? Mm-hmm. And, you know, that was the opposite of the environment I was raised in. It was just like, if you say you're going to do a thing, you do the thing. So like having that support of community who can allow you to see bigger, of like, hey, what is the thing that actually really lights you up? And like the thing that lit me up was dancing and sensual movement and pleasure and joy. And I was just like, I don't know how that's a business. I don't know how that's a business. I don't want to exactly be a pole dancing teacher. That isn't it. It's deeper than that. Like I'm like, it's witchiness and it's ritual and it's all this stuff. And so I sought out mentorship. Mentorship has been mentorship and community have been the game changers for me aligning to actually what I actually want to do and living in my dharma. And so I called in some heavy hitter mentors of people who were doing the thing. So my first shout out is to Tiffany Aliche. She's amazing. She is also known as the Budgetnista, America's favorite financial planner. She's amazing. She's a fabulous Black woman who was a school teacher. She was a preschool teacher, and she was raised by her family, and her dad is like an economist or something like that. But he taught them a lot about money. And so when she got laid off from her job teaching, which she thought was a recession-proof job, she got clear of like, what does she actually want to do? And it's like, oh, the things I love are like, I love learning. I love teaching people, and I love like finance stuff. Like I'm going to combine things that I love. And she literally built a business, and she is a multi-millionaire built on the things that she loves. Yeah. So she is a mentor of mine. And then I called in Jolie Dawn. She is an intuitive business coach. And I've mentioned her before. This is how I got my student loans forgiven, gone. They're not even forgiven. They just said you don't have to pay them anymore. Yeah, but crazy. Like the fact I called in a mentor who taught me how to actually structure a business based on my soul aligned desire. And so I would implore you of like, where can you get support that would support you in creating these visions? Like we're both coaches in our own way, and it's finding which coach actually aligns with you, where you're like, that person can help me go where I want to go. And it might not even be the person you thought. My first coach was a pleasure coach, you know? I didn't know it was going to end to all of this, but it did.
Yeah. And, you know, I want to say that like coaches and mentors are so accessible, especially nowadays. You can follow someone on YouTube for years. People are putting out content on what they do. Like if you have interest in being an influencer, there's someone out there giving information for free. If you want to get into like I remember when I first started my business, I was like, how do you start a therapy business? And someone has the most comprehensive YouTube of exactly how to do that. And I was blown away. Have I ever met this mentor? No. But are my taxes right and all my shit correct? Because of her, 100%. So you can, like, mentorship is not direct one-to-one. You can always reach out to one of us, and you could just listen to someone's entire podcast. You can watch their entire thing. Like, information is cheap right now. So it's going to be partially an internal journey of what lights you up. Do you like witchcraft?
Yeah. Yes, that was a yes from me. Yes, I love witchcraft.
Yeah, but like start looking it up, start reading about it, start doing the information. Like it's so fun. When you're looking up what you love, you never get tired. Man, I have to put my phone down sometimes when I'm excited about something.
Yes.
Like I get so like, ooh, and I want to learn from this person. So it's just so powerful we live in such a beautiful time where mentorship is actually really accessible.
Yeah. So the first question I would love for you to sit with is like, what do I like to do? What makes me happy?
Yeah.
How do I like to spend my time?
Yeah.
And if you're like, I just don't even know where to start, let's start with a list. What don't you like to do? What don't you like to do? Like for me, it was like, I remember I used to do real estate. I hated that I had to work weekends. I hated the fluorescent lights. I hated that it was a certain kind of uniform. Like I wrote down the things that I didn't like. Now let's look on the other side of the page. What is the positive of that? Setting my own schedule. What's the positive of that? I can work outside or I can work wherever I want to work. Like start creating a list of like what it is that you actually want to do and follow your pleasure. Follow your pleasure.
And just like simple questions you can ask yourself is, what do I like to talk about? Where do I spend my money?
Ooh, good one.
What do I like to talk about? Given a choice in books, which book do I lean toward? This will help you pull your values. Like what do I like to? For the longest time, I was like, man, personal development. I have no problem spending money on personal development, on books about growth, learning. That was where I was super passionate. So I started following that thread. You know, it's when I found my mentor, Dr. Matt James at Empowerment Partnership, shout out. Like this man and that company has changed my life in such a powerful way. Like I got to heal things within me, and it's those modalities that I share with my clients. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Another thing that I'm going to share with you was actually taught to us by Jolie Dawn. And so let's start with, what do you like to do? And then why don't you interview some of your friends? Hey, what do you guys see that I'm really great at? Just innately. And ask some people whose opinion you trust and value of like, what do you see in me that I'm like really great at? Because sometimes we're like, I just don't know what my gifts are, but we're so close to them. We don't think of it as a gift. Like for me, like talking about pleasure in your body and all those things like that I didn't think that was a gift. I didn't think like all the things that I realized later were like witchcraft and like in books. These were things I was just coming through me from the gate. I always was making magical lists. I always like, oh, something's heavy. I'm going to talk into the river about it and like let it wash away. Like these are legit spells that are in books, but they were things that just to me intuitively made sense. And I was just like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hug this tree and I'm going to feel the thing. So like you might not even be aware of like something that you are actually masterful at because it's so in your nature. So asking people to reflect to you. And if you want to get woo with it, this is also from Jolie, like let's start pulling your birth charts. Pulling your chart, get your human design, maybe look up your gene keys, like figure out like what are things that are actually my innate gifts and strengths that might just be like, I came in with this. I came into Earth with these skills.
Yeah, I want to say that exercise blew my fucking mind when I pulled my birth chart, human design, and gene keys. First of all, what it showed me was I am living my dharma. Like the stars have created this person called Lisset King, like because I'm living my chart. And so we definitely have some resources for that.
Absolutely. Jenny was here on the episode of When to Leave a Job. Excellent episode. You guys should definitely go back and check it out. But she is also an astrologer and she's just amazing at what she does. So I would highly recommend reaching out to her. And another episode where we talked about this and got into this was with Chelsea Abrill, another business coach. And that episode is called
What's the Next Step?
Yes. 2 episodes that you can revisit to go to dial back and like sink deeper into what are some other action steps that I can take as far as aligning to my path. I just want to make it clear because you said, I want to live my best life by aligning myself with something I would love to do. You can do that. You can do that. So being in that energy of like, not just I want to, I can. I can. It is a goddamn lie that you have to exchange your time for money. It is a goddamn lie that you have to be plugged into the matrix and you have to pick some job from some catalog. I fucking made this up and I am supporting my...
And she's crushing it.
Yeah, I'm supporting my life and my family doing something that I love. So I believe in you. Believe in your own abilities that like I can create a life of something that I love and it can absolutely support me living the life of my dreams. You need to believe that like the sun will rise again. That is the level of belief that we have in each of our businesses and each of our gifts because there is no other choice. I believe in it and it's my truth now. I believe in it. It's my truth. And my truth is reflecting back to me that, yes, I can do whatever I want. And we see it all the time. And sometimes we separate ourselves of like, oh, that's for them. I have to work this job. I have student loans. I have to work this job. I have rent. We got rent.
Yeah.
We had student loans. Like,
Yeah.
we decided to not let things be an excuse for us not living in our truth. We decided that we were going all in on joy, on pleasure, on following our dreams. And that was it. We made that decision and you can make that decision too. I'm not saying it's not scary to make the decision, but I'm saying it's a decision that you get to make.
Yeah. Gosh, we're so passionate about this.
I'm here for it. I mean, like, you know, I in our mantra, it's like, don't settle. Don't settle.
Don't settle.
Don't settle.
We're not settling. And, you know, one of the questions you ask is it too late? And it is never, ever, ever too late to wake up. It's never too late to choose a different path. It's never too late to heal. You know, J.K. Rowling, she was 41, I believe.
Yeah.
When she decided she was writing she decided on a 7-book anthology. She's like, I'm going to write this fucking book about
She was on food stamps. Yeah.
She was on food stamps when she decided to write that. And it made her a fucking billionaire.
Yes. And she didn't even know that much about magic. Just so you guys know, like she researched, she was like, I'm interested in this. She did not know. It's not like, oh, I just know all this stuff about magic. She decided, she knew she wanted to write and what she wanted to write about.
Yeah.
The lady, she got to writing. She got to writing. She got to doing the thing. You made the decision of like letting go of your other side hustles and you're like, I'm doing my business. That's it.
That's it. And, you know, and I also want to leave space for risk tolerance. Like people have different levels of risk tolerance. I, for sure, you know, I have a bit of a live in the moment kind of person myself. So to walk away from my life, I was ready. I was ready to just move on. I was ready to stop the hustle and stop the rat race. And so I leaned into this fully. And there were times that were hard. There were times we were crying, not knowing where the next, you know, fucking check would come from, not knowing the next place we were going to sleep, because that's its own little journey we can go on. But the fact is we kept taking steps in faith, and you don't have to know the full path to take your next step.
Yeah.
Like take the smallest step. Analysis paralysis, it is real. If you're like, oh my God, I have to plan my entire future. But you can just go, you know what, I want to get away from here. But to get away from here, you have to take a step away from it. You know, you have to ask yourself, what, you know, if you hate your job, like what is one thing that would light you up more? And it could be like, I like the film industry. Great, get an internship, you know, or start making your own content. Like there's just infinite ways to enter any space. Like I believe that more than anything. It's one of my mantras. There's a solution to everything. So give me a problem and I'll find it. There are infinite solutions to everything, and you only need one to move on from where you are.
Yeah. And I want to empower you that the solution you're looking for is in you. The solution you're looking for is in you. So allow yourself to get quiet with yourself. What is the next right step that feels good for me to take?
Yeah.
And start taking those steps and calling in the support and resources that you need to help support you with those steps. So we've talked about mentorship, and the other thing I want to shout out is community. Like it is very true that we are the collection of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So if you're spending time with naysayers, with the you can't do that, with the boss, then it might be time to spend with a different set of community members. And like, this can be a very painful place to be. I remember I had to separate from certain family members because they were just not in the vision that I had. And I remember one time I scared myself because I must have been like 14, maybe 14, maybe 13. But my mom was telling me a bunch of stuff and like, I don't know. She was a very practical woman. She had a PhD. Like, she was just very practical and rational and all the things. And she was telling me something. And I literally, my higher self jumped in so hard. And I was like, don't you know I am destined for greatness? We both were like, the fuck? Who said, like, we both were like, like, because it was so congruent. It was so congruent of like, don't put that small life on me. I am destined for greatness. So I ask you, where are you feeling that I am destined for greatness? Where are you feeling that like I'm being called to something bigger in my life and I need to surround myself with other people who can hold the space of my magnificence, of my bigness, of the gift that I'm giving to the world, whether that's the digital and online mentors, whether that's listening to this podcast and being around people who are like, we choose to dream bigger. We choose to see bigger. And remembering it's a choice. It's a choice.
Yeah. And I want to just add on that, like, you wouldn't see or ask this question if it wasn't in you. You wouldn't see in someone else like, wow, they know what they want to do, if somewhere deep inside you didn't know what you wanted to do. You know, if you spot it, you got it, that we can only see that which we are. And so we like to separate ourselves from other people, but it works both ways. If you spot something negative or you're judging something in someone, look at where that lives inside of you. And if you spot something magnificent in someone, look at where that lives inside of you. There is a dream inside. Something is wanting to be birthed from you, or you would not have asked this question. You would be fine living your life. You'd be fine living the path you're on, and you would never ask this question. So inside of you is the answer, or you wouldn't see it.
Yeah. And on like closing it out, you mentioned, I've always admired anyone who knows exactly what they were meant to do. And I guess I want to just shed some light on that because I'm just not sure that that's true.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that Oprah knew she was going to be Oprah.
Yeah.
Or that Bezos knew they were going to be Bezos. Like, I just don't, like Lisset mentioned, like, you don't see the whole path.
Yeah.
What you might feel is like, I want to help somebody. I think I have a solution. Like, Amazon started off as like, I think there has to be an easier way to get books to people. It only used to have books. Like, that was the thing. And now it's the monolith that it is. But I just want to just open the space of like, not everybody knew exactly what they were born to do. Like, fuck it, I don't even think Jesus knew, you know? Yeah. So like maybe, but I just don't know. Like, there's a lot of missing chapters from that childhood. But like, so just know that like, maybe you don't know exactly what you want to do, but like what feels good in this moment. Yeah. And we live in a time and a space now where people are really honoring their seasons of life. And like, maybe in this season, I'm doing this. And like, I just don't even know where my business can go. Like right now I'm looking into planning retreats. Like that wasn't something that I thought about before. And like, what if I'm you just don't know. What if we write a book? Like, it's just, it just keeps going and going and going. And so, yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, that's a beautiful moment to just bring to mind this. I recently got inspired because I got to teach a class on forgiveness, and I watched like 25 women come to life and heal. And I was like, wait a second. Because I always thought, like, when I learned to do one-on-one work, I'm like, this is my zone of genius. And then I had an experience of doing a one-to-many, and I was like, wait a second. It just, like, unlocked, like, this new realm of possibility came up for me of how can I speak. I know right now I'm speaking one-to-many, but, like, speak in front of a room. And how can I, like, forgiveness is something I'm so passionate about, something that got passed down from my teacher. And I'm just like, how do we get this out? because this is something that can like heal the world. And I'm so inspired by it. And that's all I know is I'm moving in that direction. And one day we might be looking back going, holy shit, I can't believe I just gave a TED Talk. I mean, I'm holding that vision.
Oh, yeah.
You know, or she gave a talk at the UN, just speaking it into existence.
Yes.
You know, and the point is that I did not know this was the next step. Just like you didn't know you were going to be a pleasure priestess. Just like J.K. Rowling didn't know she was going to write Harry Potter when she was like 33. So there is a time and space and a season. And when we just get quiet and we ask ourselves what we truly want, the answer will provide itself. It might be scary. It might not be the thing you want to hear right now. It may feel so far away, but you only have to take one small step.
Yeah. This was so good. Thank you, Lost in Space, for this beautiful, beautiful question. We hope that there was lots here for you, and check out those other episodes that we mentioned. And we just so appreciate you and your heart and your openness and being willing to lean in to what you really want. And I am holding that vision for you. Like, let's get it. I'm here for it. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Lost in Space, we know you will find your place. Like it is embedded in your question. You are on your way, and you did the right thing reaching out for support. That's step one. So you did it, and keep reaching, keep looking. The interwebs is full of answers. All you got to do is ask the right question.
So if you have a question for us and you would like for us to share our 2 cents, please give us a call at 971-895-4111, or you can slide into our DMs on Instagram at Honest Feedback Podcast. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, and go ahead and smash that like button, follow, review, share with a friend, because all of this helps our podcast grow. And until we meet again, be honest with each other.
Bye.